Hey guys, how's it going? So let's continue from question 6. Question 6 says a box measuring 0.3 meters wide, 0.5 meters long, and 0.6 meters high has a weight of 20 newtons. The box rests on a table. So you're asked, the first part is define the terms weight and pressure. Okay, define the two terms. So I've already preloaded the answers here. So weight, it's any force acting on a body due to gravity. Okay. So if you place a body in a gravitational field, it simply means there is some gravitational field acting in that space. So if we have that, for example, near the Earth's surface, there is gravity, and any object placed near the Earth's surface, it would experience a force. That force is called weight. And we have some cases where, let's say ideally there would be zero gravitational force. In those cases, the body would not experience any downward force, so it would just float without changing any its space coordinates. So weight, it means the force of the force acting on a body due to gravity, or the force that acts on a body placed in a gravitational field. Okay, so we also have to define pressure. Just like I said, I've preloaded some of the answers. So pressure is the force applied perpendicularly to the surface of an object per unit area over which the force is distributed. Okay, so force for pressure, it's actually a ratio. So we are defining it from our formula for, let me get a different okay, let's use red. So pressure would be equal to force over area. If you remember this formula, if you recall this formula, then you'll be able to define pressure accordingly. It's the force acting on the surface of an object, okay, per unit area. This unit area, it has to be measured perpendicularly to the surface, okay, over which that force is distributed. So that's it. Let's move to the next part. Calculate the pressure exerted by the box when it rests on a 0.5 meters and 0.6 meter face. So when it rests on one of the faces here, there's details we are given so that we can calculate the area. Okay, area is equal to this one would be the this ones would be the um, length and height, or length and width. It doesn't matter. Let's just calculate it. Be 0.5 meters multiplied by 0.6 meters, which would give you what? You get 30 here, and then you have two decimal places. So it would be, okay, square meters like this. Let me just verify. It's in the morning here, so my head is a bit fuzzy. Yeah, another way to look at it is that you're just multiplying 0.6 by half, okay? So you obviously get this. So therefore pressure, which equals what? Force over area, equals the force you're given, it's 20 newtons, and the area, it's 0.30 square meters like this. So the force would be equal to what? It should be 200. So here you get 200, multiply this by 10. Here you get 3, okay, and you multiply this by 10. So in pascals here. So 0.30, it's simply 0.3, there's no difference. And here it's 20 multiplied by 10, then you get 200. And so you get 3 into 20, you get 6, and 2. 3 into 20, you get 6 again. And 2, then 3 into 20 again, you get 6, and so forth. So it'd be approximately 66.7. Here would be another 6. Okay, pascals. So this is what you'd get. So what you did here was we used our formula. We first calculated the area, and we knew our force given here, and then we divided accordingly such that our denominator would be a whole number, and then we divided, we got 66.7, and that's it. So we said we used the 0.5 and 0.6 meter side. So explain how the pressure calculated in 2 compares to the pressure calculated exerted by the same box resting on the smallest side and the medium edge. So smallest edge and medium edge. Okay. So here I already preloaded the answer, which I'll tell you, and then I'll explain. So pressure in this case, for our case, it would be greater than pressure that we calculated initially. Why? Because the area that we got initially was 0.3 square meters, if you still remember. Here the area would be less. It would be 0.15 square meters, so it would be exactly half of the area that we calculated previously. So the pressure varies inversely as the area. So the pressure varies inversely as the area. We know this from this formula: pressure equal to force over area. So here the force would be the same. So you're just dealing with a case of P is equal to K over A. And then that also means that you're dealing with the case of P being proportional to 1 over A. It simply means when A increases, P decreases. When A decreases, P increases. Okay, that's what we are defining here. So pressure varies inversely as the area. That's the reason. That is, as the area decreases, the pressure increases. So the area here decreased by a factor of 2. Okay, it halved, and then when it halved, the pressure obviously would increase, just because reducing the area, which is a denominator part here, would increase this factor here. Okay, so that's the reason. Let's continue to the next part. The next part says name the instrument I used to measure fluid pressure. So it's called a manometer. I didn't have to preload it. I could have just written it since it's just one word. But then it's called a manometer. That's what you use to measure the fluid pressure. So let's quickly move to the next part. It says state any 2 sexually transmitted infection. I also preloaded this. So I noted the most common ones. So it's HIV or AIDS, and we have syphilis. They're both sexually transmitted infections. I advise you to write HIV here, not necessarily AIDS. AIDS, that's the syndrome that is caused by HIV. But then most of the times they just hump this up so that it's just one. And then syphilis, and then I also preloaded the cause for the 2. So HIV, it's caused by the HIV virus. Okay, that's why it's really problematic. This virus mutates. So we say the virus mutates. It means it changes its functionality. It changes the way that it is. It changes its genome and all the things, and then it does this frequently. I think we've been noticing with COVID as well. COVID mutates, so it means that it gives different variations of itself, such that sometimes the strategy that will have worked for one variation will not work for that variation. So that's why up to now we don't have the vaccine for HIV. It mutates, it changes constantly. It's a physiological structure, okay, thereby its operation as well in the body system. And then the other one, it's syphilis. Syphilis, it's a bacterium, okay. If you write bacterium, then you can just leave it like this, or you can write the name. So most of you have a hard time remembering this name, but then it's always good, okay. But then always remember, syphilis is caused by bacteria, but bacterium simply means the singular for bacteria. Bacteria would be many, and then singular it would be bacterium. This bacterium is called this. Okay, describe and explain how cholera is treated. So cholera is treated by oral rehydration. I think most of you know, because we've had endemics, uh, cholera endemics over the years. So most of you would know this. So cholera is treated by oral rehydration, or this oral rehydration is mean rehydrate. This suffix hydrate, it simply means to increase the water. So if you're rehydrating, it means you're replacing the water that's lost. The water that's lost to where? The water that's lost. When you have cholera, you're losing so much water. You're when you're constantly going to the toilet, you're losing so much water, and water makes up a great part of the body weight. So that's why people with cholera, they lose weight drastically over a few hours or a day or so. So oral rehydration means we are reintroducing, we're replacing the water that's lost, and this water, it's replaced in this form of salt and sugar solution. Okay, so it's very specific. You should look up how the salt and sugar solution is prepared. It's very specific, so that it gets absorbed really well in the body, as in the water. And so this one was the first point, and the second point is that the fluids, you can also do fluids with medication. So it's called IV, and we put you on IV, especially in cases where it's severe. So we put fluids, we put medication and the fluids, and maybe antibiotics, and also you can have blood as well donated to you, which can be introduced intravenously. Means it can be introduced directly into the vein. So we are looking at a scenario where someone is in the ICU. Okay, they're on the verge of dying, or their case is very critical, and then this is what we do. But then when it's a little bit mild and manageable, or when we don't have enough resources to cater for everyone, we have to do oral rehydration. Okay, so that's it for this part. And it says the next part says state any two effects of tobacco smoke on health. Okay, so any two effects. So I actually included three here, so that you wouldn't. So diseases, it's always good to include them in as one. Okay, so diseases such as emphysema and chronic bronchitis, and you also have cancer. You also have heart diseases. All those diseases, they are sometimes they are caused directly by smoking, and sometimes smoking encourages or increases the risk of contracting some of those diseases. Okay, so the second one is reduced fertility. Reduced fertility, it means your potency of reproducing, it decreases. So ectopic pregnancies in women as well. Ectopic pregnancies, normally the pregnancy has to happen in the womb. Okay, it has to happen in the womb. But then ectopic pregnancies, they happen in the hip area. And sometimes actually have to transplant that baby and then put it, in the place where it's supposed to be. This also happens sometimes naturally, but then when you smoke, you increase that chance. So reduced fertility and ectopic pregnancies in women, pregnancies that happen in the hip. Okay, pregnancies that happen in the hip area. In the hip area. Okay, so they're not very good. I have to undergo operation for the most part. So it may cause blindness. So I also included this one. And then when you see like how I was writing this, diseases, I included them as just 1 point, one effect. Okay, if you want, you can say it causes emphysema and causes chronic bronchitis if it's a tight exam and many people are getting the answers right and all that. They will mark that as one point. Okay, so just differentiate. This is talking about diseases. This is talking about abnormalities. Reduced fertility, ectopic pregnancies. This is talking about another condition, which is what? Loss of sight. Okay, let's quickly move to the next part. State three functions of blood. Just like I said, I've already preloaded the questions so that the videos, they're a bit shorter, and also so that It's very clear when you read. So the three functions of blood, we have transportation first. See, so if you're asked what are the three functions of blood, there is the transportation function, there is the homeostatic function, and there is the excretionary function, or there is the excretion function. So in transportation, you're transporting anything really. You're transporting nutrients, you're transporting oxygen, you're transporting hormones. There's a reason we didn't include carbon dioxide here. You see it very soon. And these are some of the things that you can highlight. What is it exactly that we're transporting? And then homeostatic function. Homeostatic, it means regulation of the optimum conditions for metabolism. Metabolism simply means the sundry body processes. All the body processes together, they're called metabolism. So respiration, digestion, all those body processes, they're called metabolism. Okay, they form a part. And then blood is very instrumental in one aspect of homeostasis. So that function is regulating body temperature. So it's the blood that carries it's sort of like acts as a buffer, and it helps the blood and the skin. So they both, like are instrumental in regulating body temperature. So yeah, you can also look this up in detail, how sometimes sweating happens, and what's the role, what is it exactly that blood does, in those situations. What's the role? You find it interesting. So as part of your homework, just search this part as well. Then excretion means bringing waste products to the proper organs for you for excretion. So the blood actually doesn't excrete anything, but then it brings waste products. It works with the proper organs. So the proper organs here would be the kidney, the liver. Okay, these are the organs of excretion. So yeah, so it brings the waste products there. So also the lungs, because carbon dioxide, it goes to the lungs. So that's part of another part of the functions of blood. So let's quickly move to the next one. Outline any three structural differences. Okay, so this is called a qualifier. So this word here, it's called a qualifier. It's telling you exactly what kind of differences they're looking for, and then these ones, obviously, they're the description. You're comparing arteries and veins. Okay, so arteries carry oxygenated blood. When when you're viewing the, let's say you're viewing the blood circulatory system, then you see the oxygenated blood will be denoted by a red color. Okay, so those will be arteries carrying that. So arteries, they carry oxygenated blood from the heart. Veins, they carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So those vessels, they're called arteries. So veins, they carry this deoxygenated or blue blood to the lungs. And then you may ask, why is it we never see, when you're cut or something, we never see any blue blood? There's a reason. Okay, so this blue, it's actually just a shade of red, um, technically. But then if you're very light in complexion, then sometimes you may be able to see some bluish parts of on the skin. You'll be able to see blue blood there. But then if you get cut or something, the blood gets oxygenated really fast, and then when you see it, it's back to red again. Okay, but then it's actually look bluish when it's inside the veins. So, and then there's one exception here. They call the pulmonary vessels. So look this up. The pulmonary vessels, they are different. So the arteries are actually the ones that the pulmonary artery is actually the one that carries deoxygenated blood, and the pulmonary vein is actually the one that carries oxygenated blood. So this is the one exception for this differentiation here. And arteries are thicker and more muscular than veins for a reason. Okay, the reason is that high pressure of blood. Okay, so the arteries, they have to handle high pressure of blood, because the heart it's pumping blood. So when it's pumping blood, there's so much strain or so much stress on the arteries. So the walls there, they are thicker, and then they are more muscular, so that they can sustain that pressure. Okay, so that's the reason for this. And then veins have valves. There's another, this is another part where, you know, a common question comes: what's the necessity of the valves? What are they for? They prevent backflow of blood. Okay, so they prevent backflow. They're like this, and what are they like? Oh, I think like this, so that blood will be going this direction. And then when blood wants to flow back, then these ones, they kind of block blood from doing that. So they will be here. The backflow will be mostly in terms of gravity. So obviously the blood would want to move from the top part here to the down part. So this has to do with the pressure as well. So the pressure of this fluid would be a little bit lower, just because you know, it's not coming directly from the heart. It's not coming from the other body systems. The vein, they carry deoxygenated blood. It's already used up, and then they just want to pump back the blood to the heart, so that it can be pumped again at a greater pressure. So the arteries, they do not have valves. They don't need that. Okay, so that's it. Let's quickly move to question 9. So it shows the carbon cycle. So this is the carbon cycle. We have carbon dioxide in the atmosphere here on the spot. And then we asked you, these are animals, these are fuels, these are green plants, okay? So there are certain processes labeled. So here you asked, identify the processes labeled A and B. So you have A here, you have B. You're asked to identify. So A, see the fuels, and then carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So what process from fuels to carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Obviously, it'd be combustion. Okay, so it means that we are burning these fuels. We are getting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Okay, complete combustion would give carbon dioxide. Incomplete combustion would give carbon monoxide. Okay, so here combustion. So B, we have animals and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This is called respiration. Interestingly, it's not just animals, even plants as well, they also respire. So yeah, don't make that mistake of thinking plants don't use up oxygen the same way that all the other animals does. They actually do. So photosynthesis is just a side um, process that plants do, but then it's not that plants breathe in carbon dioxide. Plants breathe in oxygen. In fact, a part of the carbohydrates that plants make, it's actually used in the respiration process for the plants. So yeah, that was just a quick note. Let's move to describe the C. So you have carbon dioxide now going to green plants. So obviously C is what? It's photosynthesis. Okay. So the process is photosynthesis, and then you get a mark here, obviously. And this is the process by which plants use sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to create oxygen and energy in the form of sugar. Okay, so to create sugars and oxygen. So green plants, and you have described the processes. You have stated it. and then you have described the process, and then that's it. And some of the questions that you get here is, this is obviously you know given this is obviously produced as sugars or glucose, but then what's the fate, what happens afterwards to it? So a part of that first part goes to respiration in the plant, okay? Because the plant has to power all the systems that it has going on. Cellular respiration. Cellular respiration, and then the second one, it would be storage and starch, okay? So the excess we have to store is starch. The excess sugars, we convert them to starch and then we store them. Why starch? Because starch is insoluble. It means it doesn't dissolve in water, okay? So that's why we do that. So yeah, that's it. So process photosynthesis, and then you describe what it is, okay? So and then it's important they say green plants here because not all plants photosynthesize. In general, green plants do. Let's quickly move to the next part. So next part says state one process in which increases the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere. So I already preloaded the answers. Okay, so state one process which increases the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere. Okay, so here you have a sense of direction. They're saying in the atmosphere, they didn't say in the soil. So you have to say denitrification. Denitrification, that's exactly what they're asking. The process of increasing the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere, it's called denitrification. Here, this suffix, this one's called a suffix. It says to remove, okay, or lack of something. So lack of nitrogen or removal of nitrogen for a case. It's called denitrification. Deoxygenation or deoxygenated blood simply means blood that lacks oxygen. Okay, that has oxygen in very low concentration. Let's quickly move to the next part. State 2 processes which reduce the amount of I moved up too much here. So state 2 processes which reduce the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere. So it's lightning and nitrogen fixing. So here we are dealing with reduction. Here we're dealing with an increase. So reduction we reduce by lightning, or we don't reduce, but lightning reduces. So lightning has so much in terms of electric potential. So in terms of energy as well, electric energy. So when it strikes, it breaks the bonds of nitrogen. So nitrogen will be N2 here. And I think there's a triple bond there. Those who are doing chemistry, you can look this up because it's in group 5, right? So when it reserves 2 here, then they can share. And then yeah, it's called the Lee-Chatelier's principle. So you can also look this up, but then this is how nitrogen is like. And then it's very non-polar, and it's very unreactive. But then when lightning strikes now, it can break these bonds, and then thereby the nitrogen will be washed into the soil, obviously. And then that's why lightning is important in nitrification of the soil. So yeah, and then nitrogen fixation. This one is it's a more artificial process. So I won't go into detail. You could look it up. It's part of your homework. But I just felt that I needed to explain the lightning part. And so the next part, state 2 problems caused by limited biodiversity. So state any 2 problems. You say increased contact with diseases, okay, and then increased rates of inbreeding. Inbreeding is undesirable, okay. So for the same reason, humans, we don't allow someone to marry their sister or their close cousin. It's because those traits, they're traits which are called to be recessive, and then somehow most of them they'll be harmful and when expressed. So thing is, if person A marries person B and they're both siblings, their recessive genes usually sometimes the recessive genes they're undesirable, but then when they meet now, those recessive genes are expressed, and then thereby it sort of brings about an offspring that's generally weaker than the two um, parents. Okay, so inbreeding is not allowed. So whenever we have limited biodiversity, obviously the choice of mates it be ridiculously low, and then the animals or the people have no other way than to actually breed within their own camps. So it's not good. So reduce their food security. So if you have limited biodiversity, it means that the food source there, the competition for the food source will be immense, and thereby some animals will not survive. So you have a food crisis issue here. So let me move to the next part. Next part says give any one advantage of biodiversity. So we're discussing problems. Now we are discussing advantages. So increased genetic variation. It's just the a little bit on the contrast of what we are talking about here. Promote soil formation and protection. Okay, so those are two advantages of biodiversity, and you're only asked to state one. So, but then it's okay. It's cool. Let's see. Do we still have any more questions? Yeah, I think we have one more question, which is question 10. So, name a physical process by which pure ethanol can be obtained from dilute ethanol. So dilute ethanol, it means ethanol which is mixed with water. Okay, so you want to remove the water. What do you do? Most people will think that it's distillation, simple distillation, but then it's not. We don't use simple distillation here because the boiling point for ethanol, boiling point it's 78, and for water it's 100 degrees Celsius. So those are too close. Okay, so it's hard for us to separate. Usually when we separate using simple distillation, it's usually water and some solute, which is for example salt, table salt, which is sodium chloride. That one you can use simple distillation. Why? Because the boiling point for this it's vastly higher than the boiling point for water. So that's why we use fractional distillation for our case, because ethanol and water they have really close boiling points. So fractional distillation is the distillation that we use fractions, so the same way that we do in crude oil. That's what we'll be doing here. I actually wrote a description on my editor did. So it says separating liquids by boiling points. Water 100 degrees Celsius and ethanol 78 degrees Celsius, of course. So we maintain the heat at 78 degrees by heating. Okay. So we maintain the actual mixture really. So we maintain the dilute ethanol here. That's what we maintain at 78 degrees by heating. Then ethanol vaporizes and can be collected in a separate container as pure ethanol after condensing. Okay, so you heat the mixture to 78 degrees, ethanol only. Okay, you won't water won't evaporate, only ethanol would. It would go to one fraction of the fractionating column, and it would go to one section of the fractionating column, and then there it will condense and then can be collected as pure ethanol. The actual process it's a little bit more elaborate than this, and it has more systems. But then in general, that's what we'll be talking about when you talk of this. So state any two uses of ethanol. So you can use it as a fuel mixture of petrol. So you can use ethanol for you can mix it up with petrol for fuel, and you can also use it as a solvent in the manufacture of varnishes and perfumes. Okay, so that's it. Do we still have any other? Oh, yeah. Calculate the molecular mass of ethanol. So in calculating the molecular mass of ethanol, we actually have to know the formula for ethanol first. So the formula for ethanol is CH3, then CH2, OH. Okay, like this. If you want also the structure, it's like this. And then we have H here, H here, H here. Then we have this, and then we have OH here. And then we have H here, then we have H here, like this. So this is the chemical structure of ethanol, and then this is the actual structure. So okay, yeah, I actually need this. So let me wrap this part. So I asked you calculate the molecular mass. Okay, so molecular mass. So molecular mass, we denote it by C, by a capital M. So it'd be CH3, CH2, OH. You're given the periodic table, by the way. So this should be fine. So atomic mass of carbon. So molecular mass, let me write here. Mass equals the sum of the atomic masses of the constituent atoms. Okay, so the molecular mass here would be equal to the sum of the atomic masses of the constituents. So it means sum of the here we have carbon. How many carbons do we have? We have 2. And also atomic mass of hydrogen. How many hydrogens do we have? We have 6. And then plus AR of what? Of oxygen. We only have 1 here. So here it would be 2. Mass of carbon would be 12. Yeah, mass of carbon would be 12 grams per mole. So this is the atomic molar mass that I'm writing here. So here would be 1. So 6 by 1 gram per mole. And then here would be 16. So it's only 16 grams per mole here. So here we have 24 plus 16. What do we get? We get 40. 40 plus 6, we get 46. So 46 grams per mole. Like this. Okay. So here it's 24 plus this, we get 40, plus this, we get 46. So 46 grams per mole, or some people write it as 46 AMU. Okay, so if you're doing chemistry or something, then if you're doing chemistry, then you probably are familiar with the atomic mass unit. The atomic mass unit, it simply means a mass unit, in the atomic mass unit is equivalent to a 12th of the mass of carbon, 12 isotope. So the 12th mass of the carbon 12 isotope is defined as 1 atomic mass. Okay, so from that unit we actually do the same. But then here we'll be talking of per mole. How many grams do we have? We have 46. So yeah, so I'll calculate the percentage of carbon in ethanol. So percentage carbon equal to, so here you just have to, what's the share of carbon? So we already have this. So it's 2 atoms divided by the molar mass, obviously. CH2OH, like this. So here it'd be 2 by 12 grams per mole. Yeah. Oh, It says percentage, so you're supposed to write by 100%, not by 100, by 100%. Okay, so divided by 46 grams per mole. I don't know if you guys are allowed to use calculators or not, but essentially this is it for your exam. I have to check 46 multiplied by 100%. Oh, so it's 24 divided by 46 equal to, so get about 52%. Okay, times 100%, you get about 52% here. You can put here to mean approximately, or if you want, you can say 52.2%. And then that's it. And we're done with this paper. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you want more videos where I actually preload the questions, then you can just tell me, so that things are clear for you. You can even take screenshots and then just study that thing. It'd be okay. So thanks so much. You guys have been watching so much of our videos. We want to let you know that we appreciate you so much. You keep us going. So we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers. Yubo out.